Okay, so we're back. Change your plans, friends. I shuffled all the cards for the next questions. Went through the readings, and the sound quality was just poor. So I could not do the jumpers for you. Just trust that for each of these questions, these are the cards that jumped. And I think it'll make for a more efficient reading experience. Okay, so question number 6. What is the status of this case? Is it active or going cold? And let's talk about it. We have here the 5 of fire, or 5 of wands, and then the star. Right now, there's different lines of query, or like not lines of query, but different avenues in the investigation that law enforcement is actively putting together with the 5 of wands. It's not all come together yet, but the star card with this alive card told me that this is an active case. There's a lot of having to look at evidence in real time. And what I mean by that is they are definitely going to have to watch and see what the people who are still, who are part of this whole thing, the actual crime itself of what caused him to die, and then ultimately the cover-up. Law enforcement is having to, in real time, watch and scope out and do surveillance and, allegedly even something like wiretapping or just some element of intercepting and listening and gaining information from the people who are alive and well, who are going to be heavily speculated that's involved. And so the star card is a yes card. It is saying that this is an active case, and what really affirmed that for me is this alive card. Heavy speculation. I sense here that law enforcement is having to be very, very tight-lipped, and more so than with other cases, because there's some elements, aside from Willem, that will become high profile as the case moves forward. And so they are trying to minimize as much speculation, because there's people who have influence or who could be negatively affected, even if they're not directly involved or, with the crime or the cover-up. There could be big implications. So they're having to be careful, law enforcement, about how they move. The star is about a hope that the case is active. It's a wish come true that this case is active and moving ahead and forging ahead. They are problem solving here. The police are putting together, but it's like I keep getting a sense of real time and something coming about during the star period where the case really unlocks. Maybe even it could be past or past or future. The star, January 21st to February 20th. Caregiver and helper, it could be that they're looking at the moves of people that they know could be in the know, with key witnesses, or people who helped after the fact, or help be a part of this greater scheme here of what happened to Willem. And so they are watching, law enforcement is actively watching as the weeks go by. I hope that makes sense. This is also, I didn't know how to interpret this. When I did a pre-reading before I got started with the cards tonight, from a different deck, the Divine Crime Oracle, I got a similar card. And I was like, I'm not quite sure if this is speaking to they're exploring a non-consensual assault or R-word case that might be closely linked to this one, or someone is subsequently assaulted, or that maybe Willem is in the know, and that this could be another complicating factor about witnesses who may not be willing to come forward, or that maybe they know about an attack or an assault. Someone key to this is not ready to talk about what happened to him because of fear of, being harmed or being assaulted again or something like that. So I don't know. Let me know what you all think about that card, or any of the cards for that matter. But I'm curious about that one. All right, let's move on. This question we have is, what is the strongest pieces of evidence in this case? And what jumped was daughter of air, daughter of earth, page of swords, page of earth, messages, long, like messages going back a lot further, messages proceeding in the months ahead, and posts, like messages after, like his death, after Willem's death, and that becoming evidence. It could be even like a couple of women, young women, talking about what they know or what they heard, and they may not be necessarily directly involved, or maybe one of them has some sort of involvement or no, like really close to the situation, while the other is just, listening, and that's being part of evidence. And this is what I was talking about earlier with this question over here, which is that part of the investigation is watching and seeing what the people surrounding the situation are doing going forward. That's part of the evidence here. That's what Spirit wanted me to hone in on. It's not just the evidence of the crime itself or even the cover-up. It's beyond that. What messages, what is being communicated back and forth? Because pages are typically associated with messages. And that page of swords or page of air is about delays, like police having to wait a while for people to start to feel a little more comfortable, and then kick up the dust and change how they're investigating his case, Willem's case, into a murder investigation, and now watching to see how people are responding and looking at their records. That's what I picked up here and here. Then we got drowning and backstabber. So they have evidence of somebody maybe drowning, maybe in financial woes, in a highly emotionally volatile situation. They could be literally drowning, like I said, financial woes, emotional situation, just feeling underwater about something, addictions, but it also can mean some sort of literal drowning. Somebody not being able to breathe, like their breath being like suffocated, or that's the feeling you feel when you're drowning. And someone trying to drown out the noise of, of their involvement. And so there could be something about that, like also evidence of wanting to make it look like he drowned. Like there could be messages like, implying that of course he died like this. It was an accident. He went into the water and he, drowned. Something along those lines. Then I got rival and backstabber. There is some key evidence about that, and I talked a bit about that earlier with the Ten of Swords, that energy of the ultimate betrayal, and law enforcement having evidence of what that is. So they definitely are shaping up, slowly but surely, what really are all the puzzle pieces to this whole thing. And at the core is someone being a rival or a backstabber, and it's that sense of closeness. I could be wrong. It could be amongst the people who did the crime and covered up that somebody ends up betraying another person by ponying up some information later down the line as the investigation proceeds on. But yeah, and this is also about talkers, someone communicating with law enforcement. Yes, about messages and communication amongst themselves, but it's also about information coming to law enforcement and that becoming like testimony and evidence of somebody drowning, someone, feeling backstab, a rival. It just was a soup pot ready to like boil over this situation. Okay. I want to direct your attention to these cards here for question number 8, which is what is coming up next in the investigation? We got here 3 of Swords. 3 of Swords. It says grief. High Priestess. And 5 of Earth or 5 of Pentacles. So 5 of Air, 5 of Swords. And then we got social media, father, bloodline, audio, video surveillance. What I'm getting a sense of here is that they're having to be very strategic in how they do this investigation, because yes, social media in the past, like looking at, messages, DMs, comments, pictures, etc. in the past is important. So is the evidence that is going forward. And so having to watch social media. And so this is going to cause some grief delays, unfortunately, for the family. And I'm saying that not just because of that keyword, but because the 3 of Swords or 3 of Air is associated with disappointments, even in the face of, the law enforcement having to piece together what's happening. It just not just the legal process or the investigation even, it can feel like such a sense of betrayal because, for the family. That's what I'm getting a sense of who's experiencing grief. Another thing that this card in particular stands out to me is about taking in, like they having to watch evidence of people consuming or taking in something or doing something to someone else, or someone consuming something that's toxic for them or doing actions that are toxic. Yes, it could be drugs, but it could be a host of other things. And having to watch that, so there's an element of law enforcement having to, in real time, see how the cards lay out, how they all unfold, secrets coming down the line, interviewing a key woman, a mysterious woman who seems to have a secret that can really unlock the case. There's that element. And also it's just, there's certain secrets that they're trying to protect, I would say, law enforcement, not wanting to see the light of day. But, over time it just won't be helped. And what those secrets have to do with is the father and bloodline card, like this legacy that needs to be protected, or somebody's reputation, or someone doesn't want to even be implicated just by relation to people or persons who's involved. And yeah, there's that. So because of that, there could be additional delays, because Willem's name is not the only element that's going to make this case really high profile. I can even see with the social media card that people are going to be, once the case really gets underway and more is revealed, it's going to be sensationalized. People are going to be glued, because not just because of Willem and who he is, his family, his support, the people, the community, but also because there's some sensational element about this case relating to the person, the main perp who's involved. So yeah, you all can let me know what you think the father and bloodline card could mean. I'm curious. 5 of Earth, 5 of Pentacles is associated with the timing of years, even with them solving the case in the coming, like the police having a really good understanding of the players and what happened over the next 9 to 11 months. I'll tell you why I think that in a moment. It's still going to be a process to even get to a place where we really feel like things are really moving along. We're talking like 5 years, up to and at 5 years, and sometimes even more. But 5 years is what the 5 of Pentacles represents. Remember what I said earlier about law enforcement doing some surveillance. Yes, this card could be looking at past surveillance videos, listening to past audio recordings or videos or CCTV, etc. In the coming days, weeks, months ahead, but they're also looking just after. And also, as they release a little bit breadcrumbs more to the public, watching and seeing who talks to who and why, and somehow having the ability to capture that information or to go back and quietly, discreetly interview these people for corroboration of different key elements, because it's feeling very circumstantial. That's one of the cards we got earlier, was circumstantial evidence. It's a case that's heavily circumstantial, and corroborating statements and testimony from witnesses, even accomplices, helpers, as it may be, is going to help the case. And so they're trying to build a strong case. So if it feels like it's moving slowly and nothing's happening, trust and believe there's a lot happening behind the scenes. And remember, I got earlier about the statements or like testimony of parties who are in the know that can really help fill in the gaps where solid evidence is not there, but circumstantial evidence along with these corroborating statements is what builds it up and supports a conviction down the line. Okay, last question we have here. I'd like to direct your eyes over to these cards. So question number 9. Will there be justice found in this case for Willem? Will the answers come? Will somebody be brought to prosecution? So that. Then also some key timing elements for the immediate future coming up. Okay, I already told you to pace yourselves for the case in its entirety. We're talking slow movement with the 5 of Earth. And it's going to be like torment. And I'm so sorry for his loved ones for that. It's going to, torment. But this is also interesting because it's going to torment a woman, a mysterious woman with the High Priestess, to the point where she may be a key witness down the line. Might even look like her. That High Priestess I showed you earlier, the blonde hair. Anyways, this question. We got the 9 of Swords and the Page of Swords. So what is done in the dark will come to light. Is what I thought of when I first saw these cards, and that's what I said when I thought the sound was recorded. So this is good. I do get a sense that there will be delays, and not just the court proceedings. As we know, court proceedings can take a long time. It's the investigation itself. Lots of stops. But what I do sense is that either in the season of winter, that could be the northern or southern hemisphere winter, or the timing of 9 to 11 months or so, more information could be going out to the family, or there could be more breadcrumbing of information that police willingly gives to the media to signal to those who are responsible that the case is still being investigated, still active, and now is your chance to come in and, lay it out on the table on what happened. Tell police so you may potentially get an offer or a break. I don't know if that's what they do in South Africa, but in the United States, that could be a thing, right? I don't know about South Africa, but it could be that this is your chance to also relieve the guilt that's been on your mind. And what I get a sense here right now, the reason why there's been such a lull is because police are intentionally doing that. We have distraction or diversion. They are doing this to have the perp or perps or the people who are helping the main perp move on with their life or get on with their life. They're signaling, okay, we're quiet again in the dark, causing them to sweat a little, have sleepless nights for the next several months. It's a distraction. But it's also like once that initial stress, I bet there were a lot of activity going on when it was changed, when Willem's case was changed to a murder investigation, bet you that there was a lot of activity that law enforcement picked up on. Flurry of seeing who talked to who and whatnot. So it's a strategic thing of distracting and diverting for the public to minimize speculation and for the criminals. So it's all part of the strategy of what they're doing. Just it's all a part of it. And to that end, we got the 6 months to a year card. So that tied in with what I was picking up here with the 9 of Swords and the Page of Swords. 9 to 11 months. So we have that. We have meeting. There's a key meeting with a woman who may come in several months in who wants to share something. Maybe a stranger, an outsider to the group. Maybe this is the person that I keep picking up who has some kind of addiction problem, who's a party to the information, but a woman leading law enforcement to a stranger who's involved or may not be like in the close group. And it could be like, it could throw off, I don't know. I'm not quite sure with the stranger, but I feel like could be something that's just throwing off the scent to those who might be like, oh, they think it's this person or that. I don't know. But nevertheless, they could be looking at a past important meeting proceeding, like with Willem even, like that night or whatever, preceding his death. And ultimately we have the crime of passion card. So this again is something I was picking up on, but I couldn't tell if we're dealing with love and lust and passion or if we're dealing with greed. And greed kept coming up. So it was like crime of passion is typically associated with matters of the heart, but it also can be somebody just losing it and not thinking clearly in their planning and plotting of this whole thing. And had they really sat down and thought about things, they would have probably arrived to a different conclusion, but their nature just wouldn't allow it. We have mourning. I know that some people probably wondered if he was taken and tortured. I don't know if that's what people wonder, but I'm just wondering if people think he was kept alive for a while. I'm getting a sense no. And I say that because I got the mourning card. Could be mourning we find something out, but mourning is of significance. It could also be the morning of, like, before the bachelor party is of importance. But I also sensed that it was like, he went, something happened in those wee hours of the morning following him leaving the bachelor party, which we know. But if in case people just was curious about that, and yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. We have next year more developments coming out, breadcrumbing from law enforcement. Not sure what the full moon card is saying, but I like to think it's saying full moon, full illumination. Case will be fully illuminated in due time, with some key developments coming up within the next 6 months to a year, next year. But it's going to be a while till we really see some resolution. A long time, actually, and I'm so sorry for that. I mean, hopefully what all this is saying is we'll get some answers on who police are leaning towards, who did it. But in terms of the wills of justice, I don't know. I don't know why I'm getting the sense we might be revisiting this, reading it, like Willem's case a few years from now, saying like, what's that? Well, hopefully not. I hope I'm wrong on that, right? All right, friends, do me a favor on your way out. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me that you support, you hang out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about some of the cards I was asking and picking your brain about, okay? Take good care of yourselves. Bye for now.